Night has a way of making familiar rooms feel gentler. If you are listening from a place where the day has finally loosened its grip, let that softness reach you now. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your jaw unclench. And if your thoughts are still busy, that's okay. Tonight, we won't wrestle them. We'll simply give them somewhere calmer to rest. Take one slow breath in through the nose and let it out through the mouth, as if you were fogging a small window. Another breath, a little smaller, like a tide turning. Good. Now imagine you are walking through a museum after hours. The halls are dim, not dark, dim enough that the world feels padded. The air is cool and clean, touched with the faint scent of old paper and stone. Somewhere far away, a ventilation system sighs like a sleeping animal. Your footsteps are soft on the carpet, and even the silence seems to have a texture, like velvet. At the end of a corridor there is a cabinet, and inside it, a drawer. A label in plain letters reads, "Cuneiform Tablets." You pull the handle gently and the drawer glides out with a quiet, satisfied sound. On dark felt, arranged like sleeping stones, lie small rectangles of clay. Some could fit in your palm. Their surfaces are covered with tiny wedge marks, rows and rows of them, like delicate footprints pressed into wet earth and left to dry in sun. These are among the oldest written words we know. And tonight, we are not here to argue about them. We are here to listen to them slowly, gently, the way you listen to rain, without trying to count each drop. There is a thought that drifts through the mind like a feather. What if the oldest words ever pressed into clay were not prayers or myths or poetry, but instructions? Not the kind of instructions that bark, the kind that guide how to measure grain, how to record work, how to keep a calendar steady, how to divide a harvest so a city can breathe through winter. The first writing in this idea is not a song, it is a list, a careful hand keeping the world from spilling. There is something unexpectedly soothing in that, because if you have lived long enough to be tired, you probably know the comfort of a list, not as a burden, but as a small lighthouse on a busy shore, a grocery list, a packing list, a gentle reminder, buy milk, pay the bill, call someone you love. It's not glamorous, it's simply order. And sometimes order is mercy. So let's drift back very slowly toward the place where such lists began. We won't rush, we won't force certainty where there isn't any. We'll take a quiet walk along the edge of what we can know. Before we drift deeper into tonight's gentle journey, remember to subscribe to Ancient Sleep Story. Here, you'll always find peaceful stories that soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Where are you listening from tonight? Leave a comment. Your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. Now, return to the museum drawer. The glass over the tablets catches a faint reflection of you like a calm surface of water. And in your mind's eye, that glass becomes a doorway. A room appears, simple, sunlit, quiet. The walls are pale brick, the floor is packed earth, swept smooth. Outside, a canal whispers as it moves through reeds. A breeze carries the scent of damp soil. On a low table, a small jar holds clay wrapped in cloth so it won't dry too quickly. Someone sits at the table. Not a king, not a hero, just a worker of patience, a scribe, or a trainee, someone whose job is to make marks that will outlast their own breath. Their hands move carefully. They press a lump of clay flat, making a tablet like a small waiting moon. Then they pick up a reed stylus. It is a simple tool, a piece of cut reed, angled at the end. But in that angle is a quiet invention. When it touches the clay, it doesn't draw a line. It presses a wedge, touch, press, lift, touch, press, lift. The rhythm is almost a lullaby. If you'd like, let your breathing match it. In and out, touch, press, lift, in and out. On the tablet, the marks gather into patterns, organized, measured, purposeful. And what do they say? Often they say very ordinary things: barley, sheep, jars of beer, days of labor, rations for workers, deliveries received, deliveries sent. The earliest writing in Sumer, rising in the cities between the Tigris and Euphrates, tends to be practical, the kind of writing that keeps a community fed and steady. There's a tenderness hidden in that practicality, because someone had to care enough to count. Someone had to notice that time passes, that food runs out, that seasons turn, that people need to be remembered, not only as faces, but as mouths to feed, hands to hire, hours to share. A city is a living thing. It needs rhythms and records the way a body needs a heartbeat. And if you are listening tonight with a mind full of tasks, you might feel a small kinship with that ancient hand. The modern world asks you to hold many things at once: plans, messages, deadlines, responsibilities. It can feel like carrying water in cupped hands. So imagine the scribe's calm, the way the stylus meets the clay without hurry, the way the tablet receives each mark without complaint, the way the work is steady, one wedge at a time. In that steadiness, the nervous system learns something: the world can be handled in small pieces. Yet beneath the lists and measurements there is another layer, like a faint second melody under the first. Alongside the tallies of grain, there are stories, myths, yes, but myths that carry how a culture imagined order itself, the way the sky keeps time, the way seasons return, the way a city stays whole. And in some of those stories, a word appears that feels like a door half open in the dark. Anunnaki. You might have heard the word in modern conversations. Tonight, we will hold it gently, like a stone found on a quiet shore. We won't make it heavier than it is. In the ancient epics, the Anunnaki are described as powerful beings associated with the heavens and with the ordering of the world. Whether you imagine them as gods, symbols, or names for forces the ancient mind could feel but not measure, the effect in the narrative is the same. The world is not chaos, it is structured. That idea can be strangely comforting at night, because when the mind is tired, chaos is loud, but structure can be quiet. Structure can feel like a roof during a storm, not a cage, a shelter, a simple boundary that lets the body unclench. In Mesopotamian imagination, the heavens were often described as layered, zones of air, zones of stars, a high domain beyond. The sky was a place, not an abstract idea, and the earth beneath it was a place too. Fields, canals, bricks warmed by sun, courtyards where children laughed. Between them, human life unfolded. Work, rest, bread, music, forgiveness, sleep. If you are listening tonight, you might recognize the feeling of living between things too, between what you can control and what you cannot, between responsibilities and dreams, between the day's demands and the night's permission to let go. And maybe, just maybe, those first wedges in clay were one of the earliest ways humans learned to make that in-between space feel less frightening. A record, a rhythm, a sign that says, we were here and we counted and we cared. Now I want to invite you into a small, gentle choice, one that brings you closer to the texture of this ancient world. If you could safely touch some ancient things, would you prefer to touch clay, worn stone, or a pane of glass? There is no right answer. Just notice what your mind reaches for. Clay might feel cool and soft like earth after rain. Worn stone might feel solid and patient, like a step that has held many feet. Glass might feel smooth and modern, the quiet membrane between now and then. Back in the museum, your hand hovers above the drawer. You do not touch, not really, but your imagination can. An imagination, tonight, is enough. As you look closer at one tablet near the edge, you notice something small that feels like a whisper, a line that isn't a number, not a tally of grain, not a list of workers. It's a phrase, short, fragmentary, as if the clay itself is shy. From above, or perhaps those of the sky, or perhaps by the decree. The translation is not certain. The tablet is broken, the wedge marks are worn, but the feeling is clear. This is a hint of a larger story, and the quiet question returns, softer than before. If the earliest writing was practical, why did the stories of cosmic order sit so close beside it? Why did lists and myths share the same clay? The museum air stays cool. The drawer stays open, the hall stays still. And somewhere in the imagined courtyard of Sumer, the reed stylus pauses above the wet clay, as if listening. If tonight's story reminds you of a beautiful memory, you're welcome to share it below. Only if it feels easy. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. Even a single sentence can be a small warmth for your heart. In the next part of our gentle journey, we will follow that pause slowly into the city by the canal, up the calm steps of a ziggurat under a wide night sky, and into the soft mystery of why the ancients wrote as if the universe itself had a schedule. For now, let your breathing stay easy. Touch, press, lift, and let the oldest words settle beside you like warm stones. The drawer in the museum remains open in your mind, but the glass has softened into something almost like water. If you lean a little closer, without moving your body at all, you can feel the world on the other side of it. Warmer, dustier, alive with the hush of early morning. Take a gentle breath in, and as you let it out, imagine the glass becoming air. You are no longer in a modern hallway. You are standing beside a canal in ancient Sumer, in a city that wakes gradually, with small sounds arriving one by one. The water is not loud, it slides, it glides, it carries reflections like a careful messenger. Along the banks, reeds lean in the breeze. Mud bricks, sun-baked and pale, hold the shape of homes and workshops. Nearby, a clay oven releases a warm, earthy smell. Bread is being made. Not as a performance, just as a quiet continuation of yesterday. If you listen closely, you can hear the city's earliest rhythm, a jar set down, a door curtain lifted, a basket shifted from one arm to another. Even the occasional call of a vendor feels softened by distance and morning air. In this calm, a person walks beside you. You do not see their face clearly at first. The light is still low, and the story is in no hurry to sharpen its edges. But you notice their hands trained for patience. A scribe, perhaps, or an apprentice. Someone who knows how to translate life into marks. They carry a small board. On it rests a tablet of clay still moist. And tucked behind their ear, like a simple secret, is a reed stylus. Touch, press, lift, the same rhythm. They lead you along the canal, past a place where people unload sacks of barley from a boat. The sacks thump softly when they land. A rope is tied with practiced calm. Someone laughs quietly at something you don't need to hear. Soon you arrive at a courtyard that belongs to a temple complex. The walls are taller here. The air is cooler in the shade. A wooden door stands open, and inside is a room where the sounds of the city fall away. This is where records are kept, not because the people are obsessed with control, but because a city is fragile. Grain must be stored. Workers must be paid. Offerings must be counted. Rations must be distributed fairly enough that resentment does not become a fire. The scribe sits at a low table. Morning light enters through a high opening and lands on the clay like a blessing that asks for nothing in return. A bowl of water sits nearby. A cloth covers the clay to keep it workable. In the corner, finished tablets are stacked, small, quiet rectangles holding the shape of an ordinary day. The scribe begins to write, not poetry, numbers, small signs for measures: barley, oil, wool, a mark for received, a mark for given, a name, perhaps a person, perhaps a household, a date measured by the moon, the month of new barley, the month of high water, the month when the winds change. And as the stylus moves, you might feel something inside you loosen. Because there is a comfort in knowing that even thousands of years ago, people were trying to make life manageable, to take what is overwhelming and set it down in small, countable pieces. If you've ever written a list late at night and felt calmer the moment the words left your mind, you already understand the medicine of the tablet. The ancient scribe is doing the same thing, but for a whole community. Across the courtyard, a granary door stands half open, and the scent inside is dry and sweet. You glimpse mounds of barley in woven bins like small dunes that do not move. A worker scoops grain with a wooden measure, leveling the top with the side of a palm, careful to make the amount fair. Another presses a seal into a soft dab of clay on a tied rope, closing a jar as if closing a promise. Nothing about it feels harsh. It is simply the city taking care of itself. And you may notice how your own body responds to this kind of steadiness. The mind likes a rhythm it can lean on. Even now, you can count without effort. The slow dip of your breath, the pause, the release. 1, and 2, and 3. As gentle as footsteps on cool brick. In the old world, counting was not only arithmetic, it was reassurance. A way of saying, we have enough, or we will remember, or no one will be forgotten in the dark. Let that idea settle warmly in your chest. Tonight, you don't have to solve anything. You need to feel that steadiness returning. On a shelf, you notice tablets that look different. Some are thicker, some are carefully sealed and stamped as if guarding what they contain. They hold more than rations and deliveries, stories, rules, hymns, and sometimes, in the middle of a record, a line that seems to float above the numbers like a moth above water, a phrase about the heavens, a name that does not belong to a person. Anunnaki. The word sits there, not shouted, not dramatic, just present, a reminder that for these people, the practical and the cosmic were not separate rooms. They were the same house. The scribe places the finished tablet to dry, then stands, inviting you to follow again. Outside, the courtyard opens toward a long stairway. You look up and you see it. The ziggurat. It rises in terraces, wide and steady, built from brick and patience. It is not a needle piercing the sky. It is a mountain shaped to be climbed slowly. You begin to climb. You do not rush. Each step is an invitation to slow down, to notice the way your body moves through space. Your breathing becomes naturally deeper. The city falls behind you in a gentle fade, like a song turning into a hum. Halfway up, you pause and look back. The canal gleams, roofs stretch like calm waves of brick. Smoke rises in thin lines that drift rather than climb. People move in the distance, small and steady. And above it all, the sky is vast. In the daytime, it is pale, almost soft. But you can already sense what it will become at night. A ceiling of stars, a layered dome, a slow clock with bright hands. At the top terrace, there is a platform open to wind, a simple space, a place where you can feel how small you are without feeling threatened by it. Here, the scribe takes out another tablet. This one is older. Its edges are worn smooth, like a stone handled many times. The wedge marks are shallower, as if time has been gently sanding them. The scribe sets it down between you, carefully, like setting down a sleeping child. You look. You cannot read the marks, not truly, but you can feel that they are arranged differently. Less like columns of numbers, more like lines of speech. The scribe traces one row with a fingertip, then another, and in the gesture you sense a story being remembered. A story about order, a story about labor and rest, a story about noise. The fingertip pauses over one cluster of marks and the scribe looks up. The morning wind touches your face, and in your body a quiet question opens. What did the ancients mean by noise? Not only the sound of a crowded street, a deeper restlessness, the kind that rises when life multiplies, when voices fill the air, when the night itself cannot find its calm. You might recognize that kind of noise. It can live inside the mind too, looping thoughts, unfinished conversations, worries that don't know how to sit down. And here, on a tablet of clay, the scribe seems to be pointing toward the oldest version of that feeling, as if even the heavens in their myths needed quiet. The scribe does not explain. They simply let the tablet sit in the wind, letting you sense the shape of what is coming. Below, the city continues, the canal continues, bread continues, lists continue, and above, the sky holds its layered silence, waiting for night. If you want, ask yourself a small, gentle question. When your mind is noisy, what kind of quiet helps you most? Soft music, total silence, or the steady sound of something simple like rain or a fan? Let the answer arrive without effort. It is only a lantern, not a test. The scribe gathers the old tablet again and wraps it in cloth. Then they turn their gaze toward the horizon, toward a line where the land becomes flat and the sky becomes endless. In that gaze, you feel the beginning of a journey. Not a journey of miles, but of time, through cities and courtyards where the same reed stylus pressed the same wedges into clay day after day until the world learned how to remember itself. And somewhere along that gentle path, the myths begin to speak more clearly. Not with shock, with softness, a hint that the great reset stories, floods, changes, adjustments, may have been framed in the oldest imagination as a way to quiet the world, to restore a rhythm. The wind at the top of the ziggurat cools your forehead. It feels like a hand smoothing worry away. And when night comes, the city will look up at the layered sky, and the oldest stories will feel close enough to hear. In the next part, we will walk through the streets under starlight, and we will listen to how the tablets speak of the sky as if it were a roof with rooms, each layer calm, each layer quiet, each layer holding its own kind of order. If sleep feels far away, let the distance be kind. We are not chasing it. We are simply making room, breath by breath, tonight. For now, breathe, touch, press, lift. Let your thoughts become fewer and your presence become more. The day in Sumer fades without drama. It does not slam a door, it simply lowers its voice. If you are still awake with me, imagine the light on the canal thinning, turning from bright silver to a deeper, calmer grey. The last warmth of sun releases from the bricks. Smoke from cooking fires becomes a softer ribbon, and the air grows cool enough that skin feels gently aware of itself again. Take a slow breath in and let it out as if you were setting down something heavy. Now night arrives, not a frightening night, a night with wide shoulders, a night that makes space. From the top terrace of the ziggurat, you look up and feel the sky settle above the city like a roof made of velvet. In the ancient mind, the heavens were not only up there, they were layered, structured, almost architectural, like rooms in a quiet house. One layer for the moon, one for the wandering lights of the planets, one for the fixed stars that seemed steady as promises. Above them, a higher quiet that the stories spoke of with reverence. And somehow that old image can feel soothing now, because a roof means shelter. A roof means the world is not falling on you. A roof means you can rest. A breeze slides across the terrace. It carries the scent of river water and reeds, and somewhere below a dog barks once and then remembers it is night and becomes silent again. The scribe beside you opens a small cloth bundle. Inside are 2 tablets, one practical, one more mysterious. The practical one feels familiar. Grain, measures, rations, dates. The mysterious one is the old tablet whose lines move like speech rather than columns. The scribe doesn't read aloud, not yet. They simply hold the tablet so the starlight can skim across the wedge marks, and you notice how the writing catches the light like tiny steps. Touch, press, lift. Even in silence, the marks have rhythm. You descend the ziggurat slowly the way you might descend into sleep. Each step is steady. Each step returns you closer to the city's human warmth. Lamps, doorways, quiet conversations, the soft clink of pottery. In a narrow street, lanterns glow behind reed curtains. The light is honey-colored, low and kind. Shadows gather in corners, but they do not threaten, they simply rest there. A woman pours water into a shallow basin. A child, already drowsy, leans into a parent's shoulder. Somewhere, a lullaby rises for a moment and then dissolves into the night air like steam. This is one of the strange gifts of ancient places. They remind you that people have always tried to make evenings gentle. And as you walk, the scribe speaks, softly, like someone talking to the night rather than to you. Cities, the voice seems to say, are made from lists and stories. You pass a small courtyard where a stack of tablets sits on a shelf near a doorway. The clay is drying and the wedges look newly pressed, sharp as fresh footprints. The presence of these tablets is humble, almost domestic, like bowls on a counter. Here, writing does not feel like power, it feels like care. If you listen closely, you might notice something else in the scribe's words, something that has been whispered since the beginning of our journey. The sense that Sumerian writing appears in history with a kind of confidence, as if it stands upright from the start. Not that it arrived magically, but that when the earliest tablets appear, the system is already working, already able to record and organize and hold meaning. There is a small mystery there, and it is a gentle one. How many quiet experiments, how many lost practices, how many unrecorded days led to this moment when wedges began to carry memory? The scribe pauses near the canal again. The water reflects lamps like scattered stars. A reed boat is tied to a post, rocking in a slow rhythm like a cradle. And here the story begins to widen. Because Sumer was not only one city, it was a constellation of cities, each one its own small world, each one with courtyards and canals and temples and records. Names drift toward you like distant bells. Eridu near the marshes, where fresh water and salt water meet, and the air tastes of reeds. Uruk large and busy, its walls stretching long, its streets carrying the hum of trade. Nippur, sacred in a special way, a place where the sky's authority felt close, Lagash, proud and practical, close to fields and canals, a city that knew the value of measured water. The scribe invites you to travel slowly through these names, not by walking for days, but by letting the mind drift the way clouds drift. In sleep stories, distance can be crossed gently. You imagine moving from one city to another as if sliding along the canal's surface. The scenery changes in soft transitions, a different pattern of brick, a different angle of light, a different scent of cooking smoke. But the essential rhythm remains: work in the day, quiet at night, a tablet on a table, a stylus in a hand. In each place, someone is counting something. And yet in each place, someone is also looking up, because the sky is the oldest calendar. Before writing, the moon taught time to the fields, the stars taught direction to the traveler, the seasons taught patience to everyone. So it makes sense that the earliest cities, built around irrigation and harvest, would braid the practical with the cosmic. A canal depends on measurement. A harvest depends on timing. A temple depends on ceremony. And ceremony depends on a sense that time is not random. On one imagined night in Nippur, you stand in a temple courtyard where the air smells of incense and dust. Priests move slowly, their voices low. Above them, the sky feels closer, as if the layered roof has lowered itself. On another imagined night in Lagash, you watch workers close a sluice gate, guiding water into a field with the same patience the scribe uses for clay. The water obeys channels, the field drinks, the city continues. And in Eridu you feel the hush of marshes, where frogs sing and the wind moves through reeds like fingers through hair. Here, the night is full of small sounds, but none of them feel urgent. They feel like nature breathing. As the story widens, the scribe's old tablet becomes more important. The wedge marks on it are not about barley, they are about the shape of the universe and the beings the ancient mind placed within it. The word Anunnaki returns like a lantern glimpsed again at the end of a path, but notice how it returns quietly, not as a sudden revelation, not as a shout, but as a line in a text, a name among names, a category among categories. If the modern world sometimes paints ancient gods in bright, dramatic colors, the tablet feels more like a ledger of the sacred, organized, calm, almost administrative. The beings from above are described in ways that suggest roles, order, and boundaries. It is as if the ancient storytellers were saying, the cosmos has management the way a city does. Someone oversees the timing of things. Someone holds the rules that keep seasons from collapsing into each other. Someone makes the sky feel like a roof, not a void. And again, that can soothe rather than scare, because when you are tired, you do not need the universe to be a battle. You need it to be a rhythm. The scribe brings you back to Uruk, to a quiet room where a lamp burns low. The reed stylus lies on the table. A fresh tablet waits. The scribe begins to press wedges, not many, just enough to form a small passage. And as the stylus moves, the scribe's voice becomes the voice of the clay itself, telling you something old. There was a time, the story suggests, when work in the world was heavy. Not only human work, cosmic work, mythic work. The tasks of keeping things running, the labor of digging, carrying, maintaining. And the myths imagine that even the beings of the heavens grew weary of noise. Noise, in the old stories, is not merely sound, it is disruption. It is the world becoming too restless, too crowded, too awake. The scribe pauses again. The lamp flickers. Outside, the city is quieter now. If you are listening in a modern room, let that quiet seep into your own. Let the corners of your space feel safe. Let the ceiling above you feel like that old layered roof. Steady, protective, calm. Here is a small invitation, as gentle as a hand on your shoulder. As you breathe, imagine you are lowering the volume of your thoughts, one notch at a time. Not forcing them away, just turning the dial down, in and out. A little quieter. In and out. A little quieter. If you could stand in this room for a moment, you would hear how silence is never empty. You would hear the lamp's tiny hiss, the soft settling of brick, the distant water shifting in the canal like a slow exhale. You might hear your own heartbeat, not as a warning, but as proof that you are here, held, safe. In the corner sits a bowl of damp clay covered with cloth. The smell is clean and earthen. Even the air feels ancient, cool, patient, forgiving. And if sleep comes later, that is fine. Tonight, we are practicing the art of easing. The scribe's tablet is not finished yet. The story is about to name a reason, a motive, a tenderly strange cause for a great change in the world. But we do not arrive there quickly. We let the lamp burn. We let the clay remain soft. We let the night hold us. And just before the scribe presses the next wedge, just before the myth's meaning becomes clear, you hear one line, faint as a reed, brushing water. Let there be quiet again. The lamp in the scribe's room burns lower now, as if it too is learning to rest. Outside, the canal keeps moving in the dark, soft water, steady water, carrying reflections the way a slow mind carries dreams. If you are listening from a bedroom, or a late-night kitchen, or the quiet seat of a car, let this ancient room become a calm second place for you. You don't have to travel far to arrive. You only have to soften your attention. Take a small breath in and let it out slowly. On the table, the tablet waits. The clay is still damp beneath its cloth, still willing to receive another mark. The reed stylus lies beside it like a sleeping bird with a sharp beak. Touch, press, lift. The scribe picks it up again, and the next wedges go down with the gentleness of someone laying stones into a path. The marks form words that do not hurry, words that feel as if they have been waiting for the night to grow quiet enough to hear them. The story the tablet carries is an old one, older than the museums, older than our questions. It is sometimes called atrahasis, a tale of beginnings and balances, but tonight we won't treat it like a headline. We'll treat it like a lullaby that contains, folded inside it, a way ancient people understood what happens when life grows too loud. In the myth, long before people fill the streets, there are beings who hold the world's structure. There are duties that must be done, channels that must be dug, boundaries that must be kept. The story imagines a universe that runs on labor and order the way a city does. And then, in a very human way, the story imagines weariness, not dramatic anger, not theatrical cruelty. Weariness, the quiet exhaustion that comes when the same work repeats, when the weight of upkeep never ends. If you have ever kept going through long weeks without enough rest, you already know the shape of this feeling. The myth describes a moment when those who do the heaviest work can no longer bear it. We will let that unrest pass like a distant drum, softened by time. What matters for our gentle journey is what comes after. A search for a solution that restores quiet. A solution that, in the myth, becomes humanity. In the tablet's language, people are created not as punishment, but as a practical answer, a way to share the work of the world so that the older, higher beings can finally rest. It is a strangely domestic idea, the universe as a household where chores must be divided so everyone can sleep. And for a time it works. The canals are tended, the fields are watered, the temple lamps are lit, the city grows, voices multiply, songs rise, children cry and laugh, pots clink, Market calls echo, the night becomes busier. Here is where the tablet offers its soft discovery. In this ancient imagination, the great problem is not evil, it is not hatred, it is not even hunger, it is noise. Noise, as the tablet uses it, is a kind of overflowing life. So much movement, so much sound, so much relentless waking that the world's higher layers can no longer find their sleep. The divine realm, in the myth's metaphor, is trying to rest, and the human realm is too loud. You might recognize that kind of noise. It can live inside the mind, looping thoughts, unfinished conversations, worries that don't know how to sit down. The old story frames the universe's imbalance the way you might frame a sleepless night. Everything is simply too awake. So the myth imagines an attempt to quiet things down. At first, the tablet suggests the measures are gentle adjustments, reminders, boundaries. We don't need to catalogue them. The important feeling is that the world is trying to find its rhythm again. But the noise returns. Life is persistent. Voices rise again. The city continues to expand. And the higher layers still long for silence. Now the story approaches its most famous image, and we will approach it the way you might approach a distant horizon, with respect, with softness, and without bringing fear into your body. The myth speaks of water not as a spectacle, water as a resetting hush, water as the sound that covers other sounds, water as the world's oldest lullaby. Picture rain first, not a storm with sharp edges, but a steady rain that blurs the far corners of the city. The kind of rain that makes the canals swell and the streets shine, the kind of rain that makes people stay indoors, speak more quietly, listen to the roof. Then picture the river, a broad, slow river that can rise when seasons change. In the lowlands of Mesopotamia, water is not only danger, it is life. The people who lived there knew water's double nature, nourishing and overwhelming, depending on its boundaries. In the myth, the boundary dissolves, the water grows beyond its channels, the world becomes quieter. We will not paint suffering. We will keep the camera wide and soft as if you are watching from far away, behind museum glass, where history is a whisper. From that distance, the flood becomes symbolic, a giant hand turning the volume down, a curtain of water falling between noise and rest. A reset that returns the earth to a simpler rhythm. In the scribe's room, the reed stylus pauses. The lamp flickers, and you can feel the storyteller's care. Even the ancient myth seems to know that the mind at night needs gentleness. There is another soft layer beneath the flood image. The myth is concerned with balance. The old storytellers were watching their world, cities growing, canals shifting, seasons unpredictable, and they were giving those experiences a shape. They were saying, when things grow too loud, too crowded, too fast, something must restore quiet. And tonight, that something does not have to be water in the physical sense. It can be a breath. It can be the simple act of turning off a screen. It can be the decision to stop arguing with your own mind. Here is a gentle invitation if you want it. Imagine a slow rain inside your thoughts, not washing them away, just softening their edges. Let each breath be a drop. Let the sharp corners of worry become smoother. In, a drop. Out, a drop. The scribe continues. The myth introduces a figure who listens, someone wise, someone careful. This figure receives a warning, not in a loud announcement, but in a whisper, through a wall, through a reed screen, through a dream. And what does the whisper say? Build something that floats. A boat, yes, but more than that. A space of calm, a small pocket of order that can ride over the reset without being swallowed by it, a shelter, a vessel, a reminder that even when the world's volume changes, care can remain. Now let the image shift again softly, the way sleep shifts scenes. You are back in the museum, standing before the drawer. The tablets lie in their rows, silent and safe. The flood is only a story pressed into clay, and the clay is cool beneath glass. You can breathe. In the museum, the temperature is steady and the air smells faintly of clean wood and old stone. You notice how the glass does not feel like a barrier tonight, but like a calm surface that keeps everything safe. Behind it, the wedges hold their silence without demanding belief. They simply remain. And in that remaining, your body learns a quiet lesson. You can be present without performing, and you can rest without proving anything at all. Touch, press, lift. The myth's water recedes, the earth returns, but the canal remembers its boundaries. The city begins again, and with the beginning comes a new kind of quiet. Not silence exactly. People still speak, bread still bakes, but the myth suggests that limits are introduced, gentle constraints meant to keep the world's noise from rising too high again. This is where the old imagination becomes intimate, because the limits the stories speak of are not only cosmic rules, they are about human life, how long it lasts, how quickly it grows, how many generations can crowd the same streets. The myth frames these changes as adjustments to rhythm, like setting a metronome so the song stays listenable. If that concept makes you uneasy, let it become softer. A limit can be a kindness, a bedtime is a limit, a pause is a limit, a boundary between work and rest is a limit. And without such limits, even good things become exhausting. The ancient story seems to say the world needed an evening, and perhaps you do too. If you've been carrying too much, let the myth's meaning be personal rather than literal. Let it be a reminder that it is not selfish to need quiet. It is not weak to want your inner volume turned down. It is wise. In a moment, we will follow the story into its gentler aftermath, into the way the sky is imagined as layered, protective, and orderly, into the way the tablet's administration of the cosmos begins to sound like a lullaby again. But first, let's sit in this softened pause. Listen for the canal, listen for the lamp, listen for your own breath. If you'd like to leave a gentle comment for yourself tonight, you can. Something simple like, "I'm here," or "Quiet is allowed," because here no one rests alone. The scribe covers the damp tablet again. The reed stylus is set down. Outside, the city's voices are fewer now, as if the myth itself has taught them to speak in whispers. And above the bricks, above the canals, the layered sky holds steady like a roof that does not move. In the next part, we will step into that layered roof and discover how ancient people mapped the heavens into calm rooms, and how that image can make your own night feel sheltered. For now, breathe once more, slow and easy. Touch, press, lift. The night after the myth's water has receded feels different, as if the air itself has learned to speak more softly. In your mind, you are back in the ancient city, brick walls warmed by yesterday's sun, canal water breathing under moonlight, doorways glowing with low lamps that do not glare. The streets are quieter now, not empty, just settled. People have stepped indoors, pots have been washed, bread has been shared. A few voices drift behind reed curtains, then fade like the last ripples after a stone sinks. If you're still listening, let your own room borrow that feeling. Let the edges of your space become gentle. Let the ceiling above you become a calm surface, steady and protective. Take a slow breath in and let it out as if you were smoothing a sheet. Tonight we climb again, but not with effort. We climb with curiosity that feels like warmth. You find yourself at the base of the ziggurat, its terraces wide and patient. The bricks hold the day's last warmth, and the air is cool enough to refresh your forehead. You begin the ascent, the way you might begin drifting towards sleep. One step, then another, each one a soft agreement with the night. Halfway up, you pause. Above you, the sky is no longer a flat dome. It feels layered, like a house with quiet rooms. The moon hangs low, pale and unhurried. Stars scatter across the darkness in gentle clusters, not sharp points, but small, steady presences. In the ancient imagination, the sky was not an endless void. It was structured, measured, ordered. And for a tired mind, that idea can be surprisingly comforting, because the word endless can sometimes make the heart race, but the word ordered can let the heart slow down. A roof is easier to rest beneath than an abyss. Somewhere below, a guard's lantern moves once along the wall, then stops. The light doesn't search, it simply exists. And you realize that safety is often like that. Quiet, ordinary, unannounced. It doesn't shout, "You're okay." It just keeps standing there while your breathing finds its pace and thoughts loosen their grip. At the top terrace, you meet someone else. Not a warrior, not a priest in bright ceremony. A watcher, an observer whose work is quiet, to notice what returns. To see the moon wax and thin, to watch certain stars rise just before dawn, to track the seasons the way you might track your own moods, gently and without judgment. A small clay tablet rests on a low table beside them. It is not sealed. It is not hidden. It is simply there, waiting like a notebook left open at home. The watcher points to the sky, then to the tablet, then back to the sky again, teaching you without words that this is how the world stays calm, by being remembered. A reed stylus touches the clay. Touch, press, lift. A wedge becomes a mark for a star. Another wedge becomes a mark for a month. A small cluster of signs becomes a note about when the river begins to rise, when planting should begin, when heat will arrive, when the winds will change direction. The sky in this moment is not a source of fear. It is a clock that moves slowly enough to soothe. If you want, let your breathing follow that slow clock. In a little longer, out a little longer. Below the terrace, the city sleeps inside its walls. Above it, the heavens keep time like a lullaby. The watcher tells you, in a voice that seems made from night air, that every layer of the sky has its own rhythm. The lower air carries clouds and birds and the soft taste of rain. Higher up, the moon makes its steady journey. Higher still, the wandering lights move in patterns that take patience to notice. And above them, the fixed stars hold their positions like stitches holding the fabric of night. You do not need to memorize this. You only need to feel what it means. There is a gentle architecture overhead. In the old stories, that architecture belongs to beings who arrange, decide, and maintain. Names drift through the tablet, names like lanterns that belong to another time, Anunnaki, those associated with from above, with authority, with fate, with the quiet governance of the cosmos. But notice how the watcher treats these names, not like sensational secrets, like headings in a ledger, like categories in a calm system. This part of the sky, this season, this offering, this rule. It's almost tenderly practical, as if the universe, to the ancient mind, was a city too, one that needed schedules so everything could rest at the right time. You might smile at that thought softly, because you live inside schedules as well. Even if you resist them, even if they overwhelm you, you know what it is to be guided by timing, waking, working, eating, resting, a calendar, a paycheck, a bus that arrives, a message that waits. And perhaps the ancient watchers were simply doing what you do now when you check the weather or glance at the date, looking for reassurance that tomorrow will arrive in a familiar way. The wind on the terrace lifts your hair gently, then lets it fall. The watcher shows you another tablet, older, worn smooth, edges rounded by many hands. On it, the wedges are arranged in short lines, not numbers, not inventories, but phrases that carry a different kind of order, words that describe how the world should be balanced. There is a concept in these myths that returns again and again, a sense that the universe is held together by boundaries, water in its channel, fire in its lamp, the city inside its walls, the sky in its layers. Boundaries are not always prisons. Sometimes boundaries are blankets. If you have ever tucked a child in and watched them calm down the moment the blanket rests on their chest, you know this. A gentle limit can quiet the body. So let the layered sky become your blanket tonight. Imagine the first layer as the air closest to you, your room, your bed, the soft sounds around you. Imagine the second layer as the wider night outside, streets, trees, distant roofs, all settling. Imagine the third layer as the deep sky, moonlight, starlight, quiet rotation, and imagine a final layer above that, a calm that does not demand anything from you at all. As you imagine this, your mind may feel a little safer. If you like, answer a small question in your head without effort. When you look up at the night sky, do you feel more comfort from the moon, from the stars, or from the darkness between them? Let the answer be simple. Let it be private. The watcher returns to their reed stylus. Touch, press, lift. They press a mark and then pause as if listening for something beyond sound. Then they press another mark and pause again. The pauses are as important as the wedges. The pauses are where the nervous system learns to slow down. In the city below, a door closes softly. A dog turns in a circle and lies down. Somewhere, a baby sighs in sleep. The canal continues its endless, patient whisper. And on the terrace, the watcher is writing a form of kindness, a record that keeps the world predictable enough to rest in. This is the soft discovery tonight. The oldest wisdom is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is a list of stars. Sometimes it is a table of months. Sometimes it is the quiet statement, pressed into clay, that the seasons return. We often chase meaning in fireworks, but the ancients often found meaning in repetition. And repetition, when it is gentle, is exactly what a tired mind needs. The watcher sets the tablet aside and points toward the horizon where the river bends. A thin mist rises there, catching moonlight like a pale veil. The fields beyond the walls are dark and quiet, holding seeds beneath soil. Everything is waiting, everything is resting. Then the watcher points higher, to a place in the sky where a cluster of stars is just beginning to lift. Soon, the watcher's gaze seems to say, that pattern will return, and when it returns, we will know what to do. We will plant, we will harvest, we will store, we will share. In that we, you feel something warm, community, continuity, the sense that no one has to carry time alone. Here, no one rests alone. If this story is bringing you calm, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself, something like, I'm allowed to slow down, or the sky can hold me tonight. And if you're listening from far away, from a city apartment, a quiet suburb, a long highway, remember, the same moon that touched the canal also touches your window, even if you cannot see it. The watcher gathers the tablets with care, stacking them as if stacking small pillows. The reed stylus is placed down. The lamp is dimmed, the terrace grows darker, and the stars grow brighter, as if the sky is leaning closer to tuck the world in. But just before you leave the top of the ziggurat, just before you descend into deeper sleep, you notice something near the table, a tablet, sealed with clay, stamped with a mark that looks like a rosette. It has not been opened. The watcher does not open it tonight. They only rest their hand near it respectfully, as if acknowledging a story that will be told when the night is even quieter. And in the silence, you sense what that sealed tablet may contain. A line about decrees, a line about fate, a line about the moment when order is assigned, not with violence, but with a calm, unargued certainty. Not something to fear, something to release into, because when power is absolute, it does not need to explain itself. And tonight, you do not need to explain yourself either. You only need to breathe, touch, press, lift, and let the sky's quiet rooms hold you, one gentle layer at a time. The terrace is darker now and the stars seem closer, as if they have leaned down to listen. The watcher's hand rests near the sealed tablet with the rosette mark, not opening it, only acknowledging it the way you acknowledge a sleeping thought, present but not demanding. You descend the ziggurat again, slowly, the brick steps warm at first, then cooler as the night deepens. The city below is made of small glows, a lamp behind a reed curtain, a coal ember in an oven, a thin line of moonlight along a canal. Nothing calls for urgency. Everything seems to agree that it is time to soften. At the bottom, the watcher leads you through a narrow passage toward a storeroom where tablets are kept. The doorway is low, so you bow without thinking, and that bow feels like a lesson. The past is entered by lowering the shoulders, by releasing the need to be tall. Inside, the air is cool and dry. Shelves line the walls, each shelf holding rows of clay tablets like quiet loaves of bread. Some are sealed, some are open, some are broken at the edges, as if time has taken a small bite and then left the rest. A single oil lamp burns near the center table. Its light is not bright, it is patient. The flame makes the shadows breathe. The watcher sets the sealed rosette tablet on the table. Then they look at you as if asking a question without words. Are you calm enough to hold a secret gently? You do not answer with speech. You answer by breathing. In and out. In and out. The watcher takes a thin tool and begins to loosen the clay seal, not prying, not forcing, just circling the edge, the way you might loosen a tight knot in a ribbon so it can open without tearing. The rosette mark catches the lamplight for a moment, petals pressed in clay, a small sun, a quiet flower that has survived centuries. When the seal gives way, it does so without drama. The tablet opens like a book that has been waiting in silence. Inside, the writing is arranged in calm lines. The watcher traces the first line, then pauses, letting the room feel the weight of what is being touched. In the oldest Sumerian thought, there is an idea sometimes translated as me, not a single object, but a set of sacred principles, patterns, or decrees that shape civilization. They are not punishments, they are not threats, they are the quiet rules of how a world becomes livable. Weaving and music, kingship and justice, craft and ritual, writing and measurement, the proper way to bake bread, the proper way to speak in a council, the proper way to honor the seasons. The word itself is small, only 2 letters in English, but it holds a gentle enormity, because it suggests that order is not only imposed, order is handed down like a basket of tools, like a set of customs meant to keep life from spilling. The watcher's finger moves along the list. One line feels like the art of the scribe, another like the measure of grain, another like the song that steadies the heart, another like the wise pause before anger, another like the boundary that keeps water in its channel. Some of these are my interpretation, because the tablet's wedges do not translate into one simple modern sentence. But the feeling is faithful. The ancient mind loved categories. The ancient mind loved rhythm. The ancient mind believed that the world becomes kinder when it has shape. If you have lived through years that felt shapeless, days that slipped into each other, nights that never fully cooled, you might understand the longing that sits inside this tablet. A longing not for control, but for steadiness. For a way to say, this is how we do things, so we can rest. The watcher closes the tablet softly and sets it beside the lamp. Then they place another tablet next to it, an ordinary one, unsealed, with the familiar columns of numbers. Grain received, grain given, rations measured, days counted. You see it clearly now, the practical list and the cosmic list are siblings. One keeps bellies full. One keeps meanings full. Together they keep a city calm enough to sleep. Outside the canal whispers again. The sound enters through a small opening, mixing with the lamp's faint hiss. The room becomes a cradle of quiet noises, the kind that tell your nervous system nothing is chasing you. The watcher invites you to sit. As you sit, your body becomes heavier in a comfortable way. The muscles in the back of your neck begin to release. Your eyelids might feel warmer. And in that softness, the idea of me becomes personal. Because you also live by quiet decrees, even if you have never named them. You have a way you make coffee or tea. You have a way you fold a towel. You have a way you lock the door. You have a way you comfort someone you love. You have a way you calm yourself, perhaps by turning the lights down, perhaps by listening to a voice like this one, perhaps by letting the day's noise fade into the background. These are your gentle rules, your small patterns, your private me. And sometimes, when life becomes too loud, what you need is not a new battle plan. What you need is to return to one simple decree. Slow down. If you want, try a tiny ritual right now. On the next inhale, count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the next exhale, count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do it once, only once, and then let counting dissolve. Let the body keep the rhythm without the mind watching it. Before you leave the storeroom, the watcher lifts the lamp a little, just enough for its circle of light to travel across the shelves. For a moment you see hundreds of tablets at once, some smooth, some rough, some cracked like dry earth, some darkened by age. They sit together without competing, each one holding a small portion of a world, a delivery of dates, a hymn to a river, a note about a star, a name of a child, a measure of oil. You realize that the past was never one loud story. It was a library of small breaths pressed down and dried, each breath saying, "This mattered," quietly. And you sense that your own life is like that too, not one headline, but many gentle pages, cups washed, doors closed, apologies offered, love repeated. The lamp lowers again and the shelves return to shadow, but the feeling remains. Quiet work lasts. Even your smallest kindness becomes a quiet, durable tablet. The watcher stands and lifts a different tablet, this one broken at the corner. The missing piece makes it feel even more intimate, as if the past is admitting, I cannot be whole, but I can still be true. The lines speak of the sky again, layers and halls and high places where decisions are made. Yet the watcher's voice remains soft, as if reminding you that even great structures can be held gently. There is a phrase in these stories that feels both heavy and strangely soothing. Decree. A decree means something has been decided. It does not ask your opinion. It does not argue. It simply is. And here is the soft reflection that rises from that word tonight. There are nights when it is a relief to let something be decided. You do not have to decide what your whole life means at midnight. You do not have to decide whether you are good enough. You do not have to decide how every future problem will be solved. Tonight, you can accept one calm decree. Rest is allowed. When power is absolute, it doesn't need to explain itself. And when your body is tired, it doesn't need to explain itself either. It can simply lie down and become heavy. It can close its eyes. It can breathe. The watcher returns the broken tablet to the shelf and covers the rosette tablet again, sealing it with cloth, not with force. The secret remains, but it no longer feels secretive. It feels like a stored warmth. Then the watcher guides you back outside, into the open air. The night sky is still layered and calm. The ziggurat stands behind you, wide and steady, like a shoulder you can lean against. As you walk toward the canal, you pass a quiet home where someone has left a lamp burning for a late return. The light spills onto the ground in a soft oval. A cat crosses it without hurry. You pause by the water. The canal reflects the stars in broken pieces, and that is perfectly enough. The reflection does not need to be complete to be beautiful. If tonight's story has reminded you of a gentle routine that once made you feel safe, a bedtime habit from childhood, a smell of bread, a porch light in winter, feel free to share it below, only if it feels simple. And if you are listening from a place that feels lonely, remember, here, no one rests alone. Now let the watcher's final lesson settle like a warm stone in your palm. Civilization began, in part, as a way to lower the noise. A tablet is a quiet thing. A list is a quiet thing. A boundary is a quiet thing. A breath is the quietest thing of all. In the next part, we will return to the museum once more, and we will let the glass and the drawer and the sleeping tablets teach us how to let thoughts become small, how to let time feel slow, and how to drift without effort into the deepest calm of the night. For now, stay with the canal's whisper. Stay with the layered roof of stars. Stay with your breathing, steady and kind. Touch, press, lift. And let the rosette seal remain where it belongs, guarding not a fear, but a gentle order. The canal's whisper slowly becomes something else. It becomes the hum of air conditioning, the faint creak of a building settling, the quiet, familiar sound of your own room returning around you. You are back in the museum. Not abruptly, nothing snaps. The shift happens the way sleep shifts a dream, softly, as if one scene simply dissolves into another. The brick terraces of the ziggurat fade into polished stone floors. The oil lamp becomes a low, warm spotlight inside a glass case. The night wind becomes a controlled, cool breath moving through a corridor. And the drawer is still open. Inside it, the tablets lie on their dark felt, arranged with care. Their surfaces are dry now, stable, and yet they still look like they remember being soft once. Like they could, with enough warmth, become clay again. If you are listening with heavy eyelids, let them be heavy. If you are listening with a mind that keeps checking the door for tomorrow, let the door stay closed tonight. There is nothing you must accomplish in this museum. There is only one thing to do to be here. Take one gentle inhale, and let the exhale be longer than the inhale, like a slow curtain falling. You lean closer to the glass. The wedge marks catch the light. For a moment they look like tiny stairs, steps leading downward into time. You do not have to climb them. You can simply watch them, the way you might watch snow fall outside a window. A guard's footsteps pass somewhere far away, then fade. The museum has its own rhythms too, doors that lock, lights that dim, alarms that stay silent. It is a building designed to hold quiet, and tonight that quiet is offered to you. One tablet in particular seems to call your attention. Not loudly, just gently, the way a familiar song finds you when you are tired. It is a small tablet, no larger than a hand, and the marks on it are orderly. Columns, measures, repetition, a list. It might be a list of barley rations, it might be a list of workers and days, it might be a record of jars counted and sealed. Whatever the specific meaning, the feeling is clear. Someone wanted the world to be trackable, knowable, steady, and something in you relaxes at that steadiness, because lists are not only about labor, lists are about reassurance. They are a way of saying, I won't forget. They are a way of giving the mind a shelf to place things on, so it does not have to keep holding them in the dark. If you've had a day where your thoughts felt like loose papers in a windstorm, imagine for a moment that you are allowed to file them, not forever, just for tonight. A worry about work can go into one folder. A worry about money can go into another. A worry about someone you love can go into a third. And then, just like the museum drawer, those folders can close with a quiet sound. It is not avoidance, it is rest. The ancients knew that rest is part of keeping a city alive. A field cannot be planted every day without pause. A canal cannot be managed without seasons. A mind cannot think without sleep. So the scribe's list becomes a small lesson. You do not have to solve the whole world to earn peace. You glance at another tablet, this one with a seal impression, faint petals like a rosette, or perhaps a star. The seal is a signature of care, a hand, a household, a temple office, a tiny identity pressed into clay, as if to say, this passed through me. I was responsible for this moment. And that thought can be tender, because you too pass moments from one place to another. You sign them with your attention. Some moments you handle with patience. Some you handle while rushing. Some you barely notice because your mind is elsewhere. Tonight, the museum invites you to handle a moment slowly. You shift your gaze across the drawer and notice the variety. Thicker tablets, thinner ones, tablets with clean edges, and tablets chipped by time. It is a quiet reminder that the past was not one smooth story. It was many small pieces, each one doing its work. A life is like that too, not one grand narrative, just days, lists, meals, dishes, calls, hugs, silences, small repairs, small joys. And when you look back, those small pieces are what make the whole feel real. The museum's light is warm on the glass, and you can see your reflection faintly. It is not sharp, it is soft. You look like someone standing at the edge of a lake at night, watching stars on the surface. You might notice, with a little surprise, that you feel safe with the past, because the past cannot message you. It cannot demand you answer. It cannot schedule you. It cannot judge your speed. It simply is. There is a kind of mercy in that. The earliest writing we spoke of, those practical marks, those measured tallies, were made to manage life. But when life is over, the marks become something else, a lullaby. The work turns into a whisper, and you are allowed to let it whisper. Before you turn away, linger on the textures. Imagine the clay's coolness against your fingertip, smooth in places, gritty in others, like a quiet shoreline after the tide. Imagine the tablet's rounded corners, softened by many careful hands, each person bringing their own tired day into this simple act of keeping order. Now imagine the glass, clean, steady, a thin promise that nothing here will rush you or demand an answer. If you could choose one calming texture tonight, clay, worn stone, or clear glass, notice which one your mind reaches for first. Let that choice be a small anchor. Let it remind you that even time can be held gently without being gripped. And if sleep is far, let it arrive slowly. Now imagine, very gently, that you could step through the glass, not to disturb anything, but to stand near the table where the scribe once sat. The museum floor becomes packed earth beneath your feet. The display light becomes a thin sunbeam. The cool, controlled air becomes a breeze that smells of river water. The scribe is there again, in the quiet room by the canal. Their shoulders are relaxed, Their hands know what to do. A damp tablet waits under cloth. A reed stylus rests nearby. Touch, press, lift. The sound is so small you almost miss it, but the rhythm is unmistakable. Each mark is a breath made visible. The scribe pauses and looks up, not at you exactly, but toward the doorway, toward the sky beyond. Night has arrived again, and the layered roof of stars is present even if you cannot see it from this room. In the scribe's mind, the practical world and the cosmic world are not separate. The same hand that counts barley also counts moons. The same city that measures grain also measures time. The same culture that keeps records also keeps stories. And that is another gentle lesson for a tired modern mind. You can be practical and still be tender. You can be responsible and still be soft. You can keep track of life without squeezing it too tightly. If you want, place one hand lightly on your chest or on your stomach, wherever your breath feels easiest to notice. Let your hand be the scribe's cloth over the clay, a simple kindness, keeping things from drying too fast, keeping things workable, in and out, in and out. A thought floats up, as quiet as dust in lamplight. What were the earliest words really? Were they lists, as we've been imagining? Or were they prayers, or both? The most honest answer is the oldest tablets we have tend to show administration, numbers, goods, work. But alongside that practical stream, stories and hymns also appear, and the two streams meet because humans do not live by bread alone. We live by meaning, we live by rhythm, we live by a sense that time is not just passing but returning. The scribe returns to the tablet. The stylus presses another wedge. Touch, press, lift. In that simple motion is a whole philosophy. The world can be handled one small mark at a time. Now bring that philosophy back to your own night. What is one small thing your body needs right now? Not a whole new life, not a solved future. Just one small need, a slower breath, a softer jaw, a heavier blanket, a quieter room, permission to stop reviewing the day. Give yourself that one thing if you can. And if you cannot change anything external, you can still change one internal posture. You can let your attention become less sharp, like a camera that gently loses focus, not from neglect, but from trust. The museum drawer begins to slide closed in your mind, slowly, without your hands touching it. The sound is soft, satisfying, the sound of something being put away carefully. You watch the tablets disappear into darkness, and you realize that darkness is not always the enemy. Sometimes darkness is storage. Sometimes darkness is the place where the mind sets its thoughts down and lets them sleep. The corridor lights dim another notch. The guard's footsteps are even farther now. The building is almost entirely still. If this story is helping you soften, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself below. Something simple like, "Quiet is enough," or "I can rest tonight." And if you're new here, you're welcome in this calm corner of the night. In the next part, we will follow one more thread from the tablets, how the ancients used small symbols to make enormous time feel friendly, how counting can become comfort, and how the idea of limits can be a blanket rather than a cage. For now, let the drawer close, let the glass reflect only a faint glow. Let your breathing be the last sound you notice. Touch, press, lift, and drift. The museum corridor has settled into its deepest quiet. Even the lights seem to breathe more slowly now, dim and steady, as if the building is practicing sleep with you. Somewhere far away, a door clicks and then nothing follows it. No voices, no footsteps. Only the soft hush that remains when the day is fully finished. If your thoughts are still moving, let them move. We won't chase them. We'll simply offer them something gentle to walk beside. In your mind, the drawer opens again, not wide, not dramatic, just enough for the tablets to be seen, resting on their dark felt like small, patient moons. One tablet near the center looks different from the others. Its surface is marked with neat clusters of wedges and small circles, the kind of shapes that suggest counting, timing, and return. A calendar, or at least a way of holding the moon in clay. Imagine the ancient watcher we met on the ziggurat terrace. Imagine their quiet attention, the kind that does not stare but simply notices. They watch the thin crescent appear, grow, round itself into fullness, then thin again. They watch it without hurry because the moon never rushes. It does not sprint to the next phase, it simply becomes. That is one of the most comforting lessons in the sky. The most reliable things move slowly. In the old cities between the rivers, time was not only money. Time was water. Time was a season. Time was the space between planting and harvest. The moon was a gentle clock hand that everyone could see, even if they could not read a tablet. And when writing arrived, the first instinct was not to make time louder. The first instinct was to make it steady. So picture a scribe sitting in lamplight, pressing a reed stylus into clay, recording a month by its name. The month of barley, the month of festivals, the month when canals are repaired, the month when the winds shift. Names like soft pebbles in the mouth, practical, earthy, tied to what people actually felt. Touch, press, lift. Each wedge becomes a way to say, this happened, and then that happened, and then the moon returned. In that return is comfort, because if the moon returns, then perhaps peace can return too. If you've had nights where you feared that you might never feel calm again, let the moon answer you gently. Return is real. In the museum, you lean closer to the glass and see that the wedges on the tablet are not chaotic. They are arranged, countable, balanced. Your eyes can travel along them without strain. It's almost like watching a slow pattern repeat on a woven blanket. And here is a soft truth. Patterns soothe the nervous system. The brain relaxes when it can predict what comes next. That is why the sound of rain can lull you. That is why a fan's steady hum can quiet a racing mind. That is why a simple ritual, washing your face, making tea, dimming the lights, can feel like a hand on your shoulder. The ancients built rituals into clay. Picture a storeroom at the edge of the temple courtyard. The door is thick wood, and when it swings inward, it makes a low, sleepy sound. Inside, the air is dry and cool, scented with barley and clay. Clay jars line the wall like rounded shadows. Each jar is tied with rope, and each knot is sealed with a small lump of wet clay stamped by a cylinder seal. Tiny animals, tiny stars, tiny lines that say, this is closed, this is safe, this is accounted for. A worker lifts a jar carefully, not to hurry, but to keep the seal from cracking. Another worker pours grain into a basket, leveling it with the flat of a hand. The scribe stands nearby with a tablet, recording the measure with calm wedges, then placing a small check mark beside the line as if tucking the number into bed. No one raises a voice. The counting itself becomes the atmosphere, quiet, repetitive, reliable. Even the lantern flame seems to sway in time with the inventory, and the whole room feels like a soft promise that tomorrow can be managed in small, gentle portions. And in that hush, even your own heartbeat seems to fall into line with a tired kindness. They measured grain, they measured days, they measured water in channels, not to imprison themselves, but to make life livable, to keep the city's heartbeat regular. Imagine a canal worker at dawn opening a gate just enough for water to flow into a field. Too much, and the soil floods. Too little, and the crop thirsts. The worker watches the current the way you might watch your own energy, careful, balanced, patient. Measurement in that sense is kindness. Now let that idea turn toward you. What is your just enough tonight? Just enough light, just enough sound, just enough warmth, just enough distance from the day. If you can, adjust one tiny thing. Pull a blanket a little higher, lower the volume a notch, unclench your tongue from the roof of your mouth. If you cannot adjust anything outside, adjust one thing inside. Let your attention become softer around the edges. Back in the ancient room by the canal, the scribe writes a line of numbers and then pauses. The pause is long enough for the lamp to flicker, long enough for a breath to finish, long enough for your shoulders to sink. The scribe knows a secret that modern people forget. You cannot be productive and peaceful at the same time in the same moment. Peace requires empty space, a pause, a gap where nothing is demanded. So the scribe pauses often. Touch, press, lift, pause, touch, press, lift, pause. If you want to try that rhythm with your breathing, you can. In, pause, out, pause. Let the pauses be small, gentle, like commas in a sentence, not like a held breath. The body should never feel strained, only slowed. As the night deepens, the museum in your mind becomes less about history and more about atmosphere. The glass case is a small night window, the tablets are small stones, the labels are quiet names. The whole building is designed to protect fragile things from too much light, too much heat, too much touch. And maybe that is another lesson. You are also a fragile thing in the kindest sense, not weak, just worthy of protection, worthy of gentle handling, worthy of a room that is not too bright, a schedule that is not too sharp, a life that includes pauses. The ancients did not always live gently. No human era is perfectly soft. But tonight, we are choosing the softest threads, the quiet rooms, the careful hands, the slow moon, the calm lists. We are choosing what heals. Your mind may wander to the idea of noise again, the myth's tenderly strange reason the world needed quiet. Let that word become useful rather than unsettling. Let noise mean simply too much input, too much replay, too much responsibility all at once. And if the solution in the myth was a cosmic reset, your solution tonight can be smaller and safer. A personal dimming, a gentle reduction. Imagine a dial on the wall of your mind. It controls the volume of everything you're carrying. On the next exhale, turn it down one notch. Not to zero, just one notch. Out, softer. Turn it down another notch. Out, softer. Now imagine the moon again, a thin crescent, a calm curve. It does not judge the night for being dark. It simply offers a little light and then keeps moving. The watcher on the terrace would tell you, the moon does not fight the darkness, it coexists with it. That's why it can be seen. You do not need to fight your tiredness tonight. You only need to coexist with it. Let it be present. Let it be allowed. Let it be a signal that you have carried enough for one day. The museum drawer begins to feel like a cradle. The felt beneath the tablets is a night sea. The tablets are boats that do not move. The air is cool. The light is low. Everything is designed for preservation. And preservation is not far from rest. Here is a small question you can answer silently only to yourself. If you could keep one simple ritual from your day as a gentle tablet of calm, what would it be? Making coffee, washing dishes, walking outside, or listening to a familiar song? Let the answer arrive like a feather. No effort, no analysis. Now imagine pressing that ritual into clay. Touch, press, lift, so it becomes a small, durable promise you can return to whenever the day feels loud. The ancients returned to the moon. You can return to a breath, in, out. The watcher's sealed tablet with the rosette mark returns in your memory, and with it, the idea of me. The quiet decrees, the patterns that make a life coherent. Tonight, you do not need to carry every decree. You only need one, the decree of rest. Rest is allowed, rest is wise, rest is part of the order of things. In the museum, the drawer slides inward a fraction, as if the building is tucking the tablets in. The glass reflects less now, your reflection becomes softer. Your face looks like it belongs to the night. If this story has helped you slow down, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself. A single word is enough, quiet or breath or home. And if you're listening from far away, remember, your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. In the next part, we will follow the smallest marks on the tablets, the wedges that look like tiny footsteps, and we will let them teach us how to make our own thoughts smaller, simpler, and easier to set down. For now, let the moon keep returning. Let the numbers become a lullaby. Let the museum keep breathing. Touch, press, lift. The museum is even quieter now, as if the whole building has learned how to hold its breath without holding it too tightly. The lights do not change, they simply feel softer. The air does not move much, it only drifts, slow as dust settling onto stone. If you are still listening, you are doing wonderfully, even if your mind has wandered a dozen times. Wandering is normal. Tonight we are not trying to trap the mind in perfect stillness. We are offering it a gentle path to walk, one small step at a time. And the ancient tablets know something about small steps. Lean closer to the glass again. Choose one tablet, any tablet, and let your eyes rest on a single row of wedge marks. Notice how each mark is shaped, a tiny triangle pressed into clay, sometimes long, sometimes short, sometimes angled, sometimes straight. They look like footsteps, not heavy footsteps, light ones, footsteps made by a careful hand that did not want to tear the soft clay, footsteps that say, I was here, I touched the world softly, I left a sign, and then I lifted away. Touch, press, lift. As you look at those wedges, imagine the scribe's hand moving with a patient rhythm. The reed stylus meets the clay, presses a wedge, then rises. A pause, another wedge, another pause. The writing is not rushed because rushing makes mistakes, and mistakes create noise. In this way, writing becomes quiet discipline, not strict, not harsh, just steady. Now let that steadiness do something simple for you. Pick one thought that has been circling you tonight, only one. A small worry, a lingering task, a memory that won't settle. You don't have to fix it, you don't have to judge it, you only have to notice its shape. Now imagine pressing that thought into clay the way the scribe does, not as a messy flood of words, but as a single, small mark. Just one wedge, a symbol that means, I see you, I will remember you, but you don't need to spin right now. Touch, press, lift. The mind often stays awake because it is afraid of forgetting, afraid that if it stops reviewing, something important will be lost. The ancient tablet offers a gentle compromise. You can store a thought without carrying it. You can place it in a drawer. The museum drawer in your imagination is the safest drawer in the world. It is lined with soft felt. It is cool, it is stable, it is designed for preserving what matters without demanding that you hold it in your hands. So if your mind insists on rehearsal, give it a place to file. One wedge for tomorrow, one wedge for later, one wedge for I'll handle this when the sun is up. That's enough. You don't need an essay, you don't need a plan, you need a sign. In the ancient city, the scribe would sometimes use a seal rolled across wet clay to close a jar or a tablet. The seal was not only security, it was closure, a physical way of saying, this is done for now. And closure is deeply calming. So imagine, after placing your small thought into the drawer, that you press a gentle seal over it. not to lock it away forever, only to close it until morning. A soft rosette, a quiet star, a small sign that the night is for resting. If your body needs help believing this, return to sensation. Notice the weight of your head against the pillow, or the chair, or the space behind your neck. Notice how gravity is doing its work without asking your permission. Notice how your breath continues even if you stop trying to manage it. The ancients trusted rhythms they could not control. The moons return, the rivers rise, the seasons turn. Tonight you can trust a rhythm too, in and out. The wedge marks on the tablet begin to look less like writing and more like a gentle pattern, like stitches on cloth. You don't have to decode them, you can let them be what they truly are tonight, a texture that soothes the eyes. And as your eyes soothe, your mind often follows. A thought comes softly. The world is full of enormous questions. Who were the Anunnaki? What did the myths mean? What is literal and what is symbolic? How did writing emerge so early, so functional? Why did humans build terraces to reach the sky? These are beautiful questions, but you do not have to answer them at midnight. In fact, you can let the questions be part of the lullaby. The mind does not always need conclusions. Sometimes it needs wonder that doesn't demand a reply. Look at the wedges again and let them become a kind of constellation. Each mark is a star. Each row is a path. The tablet is a small night sky you can hold in your gaze. If you could walk among these marks, would you walk slowly or quickly? Would you pause often or keep moving? Let your answer be gentle. Now imagine you walk slowly. Each step is one breath. Step, inhale. Step, exhale. And each time you step, the room grows quieter. Back in the ancient room by the canal, the scribe's lamp is low. The canal's whisper threads through the doorway like a ribbon. Outside, the city has settled into sleep. Inside, the scribe is finishing a tablet with careful attention. The last wedge is pressed, then the stylus is set down. The scribe covers the damp clay with cloth, the way you might cover a bowl of dough so it can rest and rise. The act is simple and tender. Keep it from drying too fast. Keep it safe. Keep it waiting. This is another secret of calm. Unfinished things can be covered. They do not have to be carried. They do not have to be resolved right away. They can rest. If the day left you with unfinished conversations, unfinished tasks, unfinished feelings, imagine covering them with cloth, not hiding them, just letting them stay soft until you have daylight and energy. Now let the scene shift like a slow tide. You are back in the museum and the guard's footsteps are gone. The glass is cool, the drawer is nearly closed, the labels are still, everything is arranged for quiet. You realize something. A museum is a temple of pauses. It is built so that people can move slowly, so that eyes can linger, so that the past can speak without raising its voice. And tonight, you can treat your own mind like a museum, not a battlefield, not a factory, a museum, a place where thoughts can be observed gently, then placed back on the shelf. If a thought feels too sharp, you don't have to pick it up. You can view it from behind glass. You can say, "I see you," and then let it remain where it is. If a thought feels tender, you can hold it like clay, softly, then set it down. If a thought feels heavy, you can imagine it as stone, worn smooth by time, solid but not urgent. If you want to choose one calming material for the rest of this part, choose now: clay, stone, or glass. Let the choice become your anchor. Clay, soft, cool, workable. Stone, steady, patient, enduring. Glass, smooth, clear, protective. Whichever you choose, let your breath match it. Clay breath is slow and warm. Stone breath is deep and steady. Glass breath is light and clean. You don't have to get it right. You only have to let the idea guide you toward ease. In the old myths, the great problem was noise, and the great desire was quiet. Tonight, you are doing the smallest version of that ancient wish. lowering the volume, one notch at a time. No flood, no drama, just breath. There is a moment, if you stay with the tablet long enough, when you begin to sense how the ancient hand must have felt. The scribe was not trying to impress anyone. The scribe was trying to make the day understandable. A sack of barley becomes a number becomes a mark becomes a memory that can be shared. And sharing memory is quietly a kind of love. Because when a city remembers who worked, who received, who waited, fewer people are lost in the blur. If your own days have felt like a blur lately, you can borrow this ancient kindness in the smallest way. Imagine a blank tablet the size of your palm. On it, you press just 3 wedges for tonight. 1 wedge for what you did well, even if it was small. 1 wedge for what you are grateful for, even if it is ordinary. 1 wedge for what you will release until morning. You don't need to name them out loud. You can simply feel them. 3 quiet marks, 3 soft steps, and then, in your mind, slide that little tablet into the drawer. If you'd like, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself below, just a single word like soft, safe, or breath. Not for the algorithm, for you. A tiny seal pressed into the night saying, I was here and I chose quiet. And that is enough tonight. Touch, press, lift. A final image arrives, the wedge marks as tiny doors. Each one is a doorway into rest. Not a doorway you have to step through all at once, just one. Choose 1 mark. Let it be the last thing you notice before your mind drifts. And if you are still awake, that is fine. We are not racing sleep. We are escorting it, like a friend walking you home. In the next part, we will follow the idea of the roof again, how limits can feel like shelter, how the sky's layers can become a blanket, and how the ancient sense of order can help your modern mind stop arguing with itself in the dark. For now, stay with 1 row of wedges, stay with 1 breath, stay with 1 small, patient step. Touch, press, lift. The museum has become so quiet that it almost feels like the night itself is inside it, folded neatly into the corners. The glass cases hold their soft reflections. The corridor lights hover at the edge of darkness, and somewhere, very far away, a building system hums, steady, unbothered, like a distant ocean. If you are still awake with me, you are not behind, you are simply arriving slowly. And slow arrival is exactly what this story is for. Take a gentle breath in. And let the exhale be a little longer, like a sigh you don't have to earn. Now let us return to one of the most calming images the ancient mind offered, the layered sky. Not an endless emptiness, layered, structured, like a house with quiet rooms, like a roof made of stars. In the old stories, the heavens were often imagined as tiers, 1 layer close to earth, where wind and clouds lived, 1 layer for the moon, 1 layer for the wandering lights, 1 for the fixed stars, and beyond, an upper quiet, a place of authority and stillness. Whether literal or poetic, the image carries a deep bedtime comfort. Above you, the universe is not falling apart. Above you, something holds. Tonight, you can borrow that holding without having to believe anything particular. You can simply feel the idea of a roof. If you are lying down, notice the ceiling above you. It might be plain, maybe textured, maybe invisible in the dark. But it is there. It is doing its job. It is holding the room. It is a boundary between you and the larger night sky. And boundaries, when they are gentle, are not cages. They are blankets. Think of the difference between a fence and a blanket. One is built to keep things out. The other is built to keep you warm. Limits can be either, depending on how they are held. The ancient myths, especially the ones about noise and balance, carry a soft suggestion that the world became kinder when it gained boundaries, water in its channel, seasons in their order, human life within rhythms that keep the city from becoming too restless. In modern life, boundaries are often treated like punishments, deadlines, restrictions, schedules, have to. But in a bedtime story, we can reclaim boundaries as shelter. A bedtime is a boundary, a dimmed light is a boundary, a turned-off phone is a boundary, a closed door is a boundary. These are not prisons. These are ways of saying, not everything gets to enter tonight. Imagine the museum drawer again. The tablets rest inside it. The drawer is not a trap for history. It is a home for history. It keeps the fragile things safe. That is what a good boundary does. It protects what is tender. And you are tender tonight, in the kindest sense. Deserving of protection, deserving of care, deserving of a little enclosure so your nervous system can finally stop scanning the horizon. If you want, you can try a small visualization. Imagine your thoughts are a city at dusk. Lights are still on, people are still moving. There are still a few tasks being done. But then the city gates begin to close, not harshly, not with fear, just as part of the rhythm. The gates close. The streets grow quieter. The lamps become fewer. The city rests. Now imagine your mind is that city. The gates are closing gently, not forever, just until morning. Outside the walls, the night can stay outside, tomorrow can wait outside, the unresolved can wait outside, the arguments can wait outside, the what if can wait outside. Inside you have breath, inside you have warmth, inside you have quiet, touch, press, lift. Back in the ancient city, there was a similar feeling. When the temple doors were closed, when the storerooms were sealed, when the last ration lists were recorded and set aside. The day's activity did not vanish, it was simply stored. The city did not disappear, it simply lowered its voice. Now we return to the soft discovery of our story, and we hold it with extra gentleness. In the myth, the great problem was noise, and the response, over time, was limits, ways to restore quiet. Tonight, your limits can be tiny and kind. You don't have to control everything. You only need to control one thing, the volume. If you want, imagine again that dial on the wall of your mind. On the next exhale, turn it down one notch. Out. Quieter. Turn it down another notch. Out. Quieter. Now let it be where it is. Do not chase silence. Let quiet arrive gradually. In the museum, the glass reflects your face faintly. In that reflection, you look like a person at the end of a long day, someone who has carried enough. And you may notice something. You don't need to fix your face to deserve rest. You don't need to perfect your posture. You don't need to explain why you're tired. Rest is not a reward. Rest is a rhythm. The ancients would understand that. They watched seasons. They watched the moon. They watched water. Everything rests. Everything returns. So tonight, you are allowed to be part of that order. A thought may rise, but what about everything I didn't do? Let it rise. Then let it be handled the way a tablet handles a thought, by storing it. Imagine a small clay tablet the size of your palm. Press one wedge into it for that thought. Unfinished. Touch. Press. Lift. Now slide it into the drawer, seal it with a rosette. Done for now. There is another quiet idea hidden in the ancient me, those sacred patterns and decrees that shaped civilization. The idea is not that you must obey everything. The idea is that life becomes calmer when it has rituals. Tonight, we can create one ritual so small it almost disappears. The ritual is this. Every time you notice your mind speeding up, you soften your exhale. That's it. No fighting, no lecturing. Just a softer exhale. Try it once. In, out, softer. And notice how the body responds. Often the body believes the exhale. It reads the exhale as a signal. No danger, no chase, no urgency. If you are listening from a busy American life, emails, meetings, deadlines, this may be the simplest medicine you can carry, the ability to soften the exhale anytime you want. Now the story returns to the roof. Imagine standing under the ziggurat shadow at night. The bricks rise above you like a stepped mountain. The sky above that is layered and calm. Stars look like tiny wedges pressed into darkness, writing you can't read but can feel. The city is behind you, quieter now. The canal is nearby, whispering. Everything around you says enough. 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 Enough doing. Enough thinking. Enough proving. And in that enoughness, you begin to feel something open softly. Not excitement, not adrenaline, a gentle relief. Relief is the feeling that comes when you stop arguing with reality. And the ancient myths, for all their strangeness, contain one bedtime truth. Some things are simply beyond argument. The sky will be the sky. The river will be the river. Time will pass. The moon will return. You don't have to win against those things. You can rest beneath them. When power is absolute, it doesn't need to explain itself. And tonight, your tiredness doesn't need to explain itself either. It can simply be. It can simply settle. If you like, place your attention on one simple sensation. The warmth of your hands, the coolness of air near your nostrils, the weight of your legs, the softness of your pillow. Choose one and stay with it for 3 breaths. 1, 2, 3. Now let attention loosen again. The museum drawer is almost fully closed now, leaving only a thin seam of darkness. Inside the tablets, sleep. That word feels right. They sleep behind glass and wood, preserved and still. They are not dead objects. They are quiet witnesses, resting. And you too can sleep. If sleep has not arrived yet, that's okay. Even resting attention is helpful, even listening is helpful, even lowering the volume is helpful. If this story has brought you calm, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself. I'm allowed, or quiet is enough, or I can stop now. And if you'd like more peaceful nighttime journeys, don't forget to subscribe for more. In the next part, we will drift into the deepest softness of the night, where history becomes pure atmosphere, where the wedge marks become a lullaby pattern, and where the story no longer asks your mind to follow, only your body to sink. For now, let limits be blankets, let the roof be shelter, let the exhale be your decree. Touch, press, lift. At some point in the night, stories stop being information and start being atmosphere. The museum knows this. That's why it dims the lights. That's why it keeps the air cool. That's why it asks people to walk slowly, to speak quietly, to let their voices become part of the hush rather than cutting through it. If you are still listening, you may feel yourself entering that softer layer now, where you don't need to track every sentence, where you can simply float on the tone like a boat on calm water. Take a slow breath in and let your breath out as if you were letting your whole day drain away. The drawer in your mind is closed now, but not sealed with tension. Closed the way a child closes their eyes, trusting that what matters will still be there in the morning. Inside the drawer, the tablets rest. They do not perform, they do not persuade, they do not ask for certainty. They simply remain. And perhaps that is one of the deepest comforts history can offer, a sense that life has always been carried forward, one quiet day at a time. People once baked bread by canal water. People once wrote lists by lamplight. People once looked up at stars with the same tired wonder you feel sometimes when you stand at a window and realize how big the night is. Not everything is different, not everything is new. There is continuity, and continuity is calming. Now let's return to the wedges, not to analyze them, but to let them become a lullaby pattern. Imagine you are holding a small tablet in your hands. It is cool at first, then warms slightly from your skin. The surface is textured in a way that makes the fingertips curious, but not restless. Each wedge is a small indentation like a pressed leaf. The corners are rounded, softened by time. You run your thumb across a row. Touch, press, lift. But this time it is not the stylus moving, it is your attention moving. And your attention moves slowly like a finger tracing embroidery. The wedges become repetitive in a comforting way, like the steady clicks of a train far away, like the repeated waves on a shoreline, like a mother's hand patting a child's back in the dark. If you have trouble sleeping because your mind wants novelty, new problems, new scenarios, new worries, repetition is an antidote. Repetition teaches the mind nothing surprising is coming, and when nothing surprising is coming, the body can finally let go. So let the wedges repeat. Wedge, wedge, wedge. Pause, wedge, wedge, wedge. Pause. Let the pauses be part of the music. In the ancient city, the scribe's day would have ended. The stylus would have been set down. The damp clay would have been covered, protected from drying too quickly. The lamp would have been dimmed. Outside, the canal would have whispered the same whisper it has always whispered. People would have slept, not always perfectly, not always easily, but they would have slept because they had to, because the body insists, because tomorrow would require hands again. If you are listening from a modern life that sometimes forgets the body's insistence, let this story remind you gently. Your body is not a machine. It is a riverbank. It is a field. It is a season. It cannot be harvested every day. It needs quiet. The ancient myths about noise and balance can be read as bedtime metaphors. When life becomes too loud, the soul needs a reset. Not a dramatic reset, just a return to rhythm. Tonight, the reset is happening in your breath. In, out. In the museum, your reflection in the glass is nearly gone now. The glass is darker, the corridor lights lower, the building more asleep. Even the idea of Anunnaki, which once felt like a doorway to big questions, has softened into something simpler. A name that meant above, a placeholder for order, a way the ancient mind made the universe feel organized rather than wild. And in that you can find calm. Because at night, many of our fears are really fears of chaos. The mind wants to know that something is holding the world together. The ancient storytellers gave themselves that comfort by imagining layered skies, decrees, sacred patterns. Me. You can give yourself the same comfort in a simpler form. The world is not asking you to hold it together tonight. The world can hold itself. Your job is to rest. If you want, imagine the layered roof again. First layer, your room, your bed, your blanket, the soft air. Second layer, your neighborhood, quiet streets, sleeping houses, distant hums. Third layer, the sky, stars, moon, slow movement. Fourth layer, deep quiet beyond, the kind of quiet that never rushes. Now imagine that deep quiet drifting down like a gentle mist, filling each layer with calm. It enters your neighborhood. It enters your room. It settles on your chest. It reaches your hands. It reaches your eyelids. The eyelids may feel heavier now. If they close, let them close. If they flutter, let them flutter. There is no wrong way to be sleepy. A small thought may come, I should be asleep by now. Let that thought be handled like a tablet handles a thought, by storing it. Press one wedge into an imaginary tablet. Should. Touch. Press. Lift. Now slide it into the drawer. Seal it gently and let it go. You do not need to perform sleep. Sleep is not a task, it is a drift. If you are still awake, you are not failing. You are simply drifting slowly, and slow drift still counts. Now let's return to the most soothing scene of all, the museum at night. Imagine the building is empty, the exhibits are quiet, the hallways are dim. In one room, the clay tablets rest behind glass. In another, a statue of stone stands in shadow, its face calm as if it has been listening for centuries. In another, a map shows rivers and cities in faded ink like veins on old parchment. The air is cool, and the silence is thick in a comforting way. No one is watching you. No one expects anything. The museum is a sanctuary for objects that have done their work and can now simply be. You tonight are allowed to be like that. To exist without output, to rest without explanation, to be preserved by quiet. If you'd like, you can repeat a simple phrase in your mind like a soft mantra, not to force anything, but to offer your thoughts a gentle place to land. Calm, quiet, presence, breath, or if you prefer a different feel, soft, safe, here. Now, let the words be slow, let them drift between breaths. Calm, quiet, presence, breath, soft, safe, here. Now, the words begin to lose shape, and that is good. That means the mind is letting them go, the way it lets go of language when it enters sleep. The wedges on the tablet become only texture now, the story becomes only tone, the museum becomes only darkness and gentle air. If you are still listening enough to remember, here is one final community whisper. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. And now we do something very simple. We let the lantern dim. The night does not need bright light to be safe. It needs softness. So the lantern dims, the museum sleeps, the drawer is closed, the canal whispers far away like a memory of water. Touch, press, lift. The last wedge is pressed and the stylus is set down. The quiet is so complete now that it feels like a soft fabric laid over everything. Not silence as emptiness, silence as kindness. If you are still listening, you might already be half in another place, where words lose their edges and thoughts drift without needing to make sense. That is perfectly fine. Tonight the story does not need you to hold it. The story is holding you. Take one slow breath in, and let the exhale fall away, long and easy. In the museum, the corridor lights have dimmed to their lowest safe glow. The polished floor reflects almost nothing. The air is cool and the building feels like a sleeping animal, steady, calm, protective. You stand near the glass case one last time, not because you must, but because it feels comforting to say goodbye softly. Behind the glass, the clay tablets rest in their dark felt cradle. They look the way small stones look when they've been warmed by sun and then placed in shade. They are quiet objects, but they carry a quiet lesson. The past is not always loud. Sometimes the past is a list of barley. Sometimes it is a moon count. Sometimes it is a seal pressed like a rosette. Sometimes it is the simple rhythm of a hand making wedges in clay, touch, press, lift, over and over, steady enough to keep a city breathing. And somewhere in that steadiness is a kind of bedtime comfort for you. Because your own life, too, is made of small repeats. Small gestures, small kindnesses, small efforts that the world rarely applauds but which keep your days from spilling. Tonight, you don't have to applaud yourself. You don't have to evaluate, you don't have to improve, you only have to rest. The museum drawer begins to slide closed again in your mind, but this time you feel the full satisfaction of it, the quiet finality that says, safe, stored, done for now. The drawer closes with a soft sound, not a lock, a lullaby. Touch, press, lift. Even in your imagination, you can feel the last wedge being pressed, the last mark of the night. Now the story returns, very gently, to the ancient room by the canal, as if showing you the source of this calm. It is night there too. The lamp is low. The canal whispers beyond the doorway. The scribe has finished writing and has covered the tablet with cloth, letting the clay rest. The reed stylus lies on the table, angled toward stillness. Outside, the city is quiet behind its walls. People sleep in simple rooms with reed mats and blankets. The ziggurat stands in the distance, a dark stepped shape against a sky layered with stars. And somewhere above that sky, in the oldest imagination, order rests like a roof. Steady, not demanding, the scribes' hands are relaxed. Their shoulders have dropped. Their breathing is slow. The scribe does not ask the universe to explain itself. The scribe simply trusts rhythm. And you can trust rhythm too. In, out. If your mind is still busy, let it be busy in the smallest way, like a candle flame moving in place. It does not need to travel. It does not need to chase. It can simply flicker until it naturally quiets. Now remember the soft discovery that guided us. In the ancient myth, the world longed for quiet because the noise had grown too much. Tonight we made a small, safe version of that longing. Not a flood, not drama, just a gentle reduction, a softer exhale, a dimmer light, a slower pace, a closed drawer. Limits as blankets, a roof of stars, a ritual of pause, touch, press, lift. Let those phrases become simple sensations rather than meanings. Blanket, roof, pause, blanket, roof, pause. The words dissolve, your body remains. If you are still awake enough to choose one of these as your final anchor. The coolness of glass, the steadiness of stone, the softness of clay. Glass, protective, smooth, clear. Stone, patient, enduring, calm. Clay, workable, warm, forgiving. Choose one and let it be the last texture you imagine tonight. Now we gently imagine morning, not to wake you, but to reassure the part of your mind that fears the future. Morning is not something you have to wrestle into existence. It arrives the way the moon returns, without hurry, without needing your supervision. In the ancient city, morning will come with pale light on canal water. Bread will warm in ovens. Workers will open gates. The scribe will uncover the tablet and let it dry. Lists will be checked. Measures will be taken. Life will continue. And in your modern world, morning will come too. Emails may wait. Tasks may return. But you do not have to carry them right now. Tonight is for storing. Tonight is for letting the mind slide its thoughts into a drawer. Tonight is for letting the body sink. If you want, take a final breath with me. Just one. In and out. Now no more effort. No more instruction. Only drift. Here is your final gentle community whisper, soft as a hand smoothing your hair. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. And now we let the lantern dim completely. If this story brought you calm, you are welcome to leave a gentle comment, only when you're ready. Maybe share where you were listening from tonight, or what small texture felt most comforting, clay, worn stone, or glass. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. And don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys with Ancient Sleep Story.